to another TBR video. I fear I didn't want to have a second TBR video during Bookmas, but here we are, because the thing is I only have 5 books left on my TBR of the 15 that we picked, or however many we picked, and I will probably be getting through, I've been getting through like 2 books a day with audiobooks. So with that being said, we're just going to use our TBR jar. And again, I would like to switch it up and do like my TBR Monopoly, but that takes so much more effort and time. And those are things we don't have right now, because it's 7:30 p.m. and I still have a lot of work to get done tonight. So let us jump in to the TBR jar and pick out 10 reads. We're going to do 10 because I have some other video ideas I want to do where I might need to pick things not on the TBR. But December has been a horrifying reading month. I have had so many low ratings, very low ratings. I think my average right now is a 3.3 or something. So I just want some books that I'm looking forward to. And that's really where I'm at in life. So our first thing is it ends in page number 5. Okay, so that kind of leads me to anywhere, I guess. I think we're going to continue on with our journey of trying to get through series. So I'm going to look over here. I just read book 1 in this series. I wouldn't mind reading book 2. 500 almost pages. This ends in a 1. Or no, that's an excerpt from the other book. That's a lie. Ends in a, no. Do I think I'm gonna like this book? Probably not, but this is The Dare by Natasha Preston. This is a YA thriller. I have very mixed feelings about her books. I've enjoyed some, I've hated some, I thought some were okay. We're really all over the spectrum. This is called The Dare, and this one says, in Marley's town, high school seniors must perform a prank as a rite of passage. A dare, if you will. The dares start out simple, egging houses, throwing balloons filled with glitter, letting chickens loose in the halls. But this is no child's play. Accepting a dare means you could be expelled, arrested, or worse. No one wants to back down from a dare, but saying yes has consequences too. So, we'll see. It's regardless going to be a quick, easy time. And literally, I probably looked through like 15 books. Maybe more. Probably more, actually. A book with a color in the title. I think I only have one that I can think of. And it is one that I looked at because I am interested in getting the ball moving on this series. Because I don't really think I have anything else. And this one I know right off the top of my head is Juniper Hill. Juniper is like green, I believe. And the first one's Indigo Ridge and it's blue. And they're all like different colors. This is a mystery romance series about like this family in Montana. The Edens family, the series is called The Edens, but this says, Memphis Ward arrives in Quincy, Montana on the 5th worst day of her life. She needs a shower, she needs a snack, she needs some sanity. Because moving across the country with her newborn baby is by far the craziest thing she's ever done. But maybe it takes a little crazy to build a life to build a good life. If putting the past behind her requires 1,000 miles in a new town, she'll do it if it means a better future for her son. Even if it requires setting aside the glamour of her former life. Even if it requires working as a housekeeper at the Eloise Inn and living in an apartment above a garage. It's there, on the 5th worst day of her life, that she meets the handsomest man she's ever laid eyes on. Knox Eden is a beautiful, sinful dream. A chef and her temporary landlord. With his sharp, stubbled jaw and tattooed arms, he's raw and rugged in everything she's never had and never will. Because after the first worst day of her life, Memphis learned a good life lesson. Giving up on her dreams Memphis learned a good life requires giving up on her dreams too. And a man like Knox Eden will only ever be a dream. So, we will be continuing on in the Edens. prompt number 3. A book with a purple cover. Purple is the rarest color for me. I have very few purple books, if I'm being so honest with you. It is like the color that I have the least of. So let me think. Is this purple? I'm going with this. This might be cheating, but I really want to read this. It's like purple-ish. It's looking more blue on camera, but it feels more purple in person, and I want to read it. So if it's cheating, oh well. This is Lila Sage's new book called Soul Searching, and this says, Collins Cartwright does not want to go home. Sweetwater Peak, Wyoming was supposed to be in her rearview mirror, but when she finds out a developer is trying to buy her parents' antiques shop out from under them, she doesn't have a choice. At least that's what she tells her family. They don't need to know she's lost her job and is out of money, or that the ghosts who have always been her companions have recently gone silent. But just because she's returned home doesn't mean she has to stay with her parents or crash on her twin sister's couch. Lucky for her, the new to town upholsterer has a room for rent above the store. Unluckily, and it is absolutely crawling with more ghosts who are freezing her out, and Collins hates being ignored. Brady Cooper is absolutely and totally fine. Seriously, there's no secret reason why he decided to uproot his life and suddenly move to Sweetwater Peak. He just needed a change of pace. At least that's what he's telling himself and everyone else. When he agrees to let the elusive Collins Cartwright stay in his spare room, he doesn't know that she's absolutely bonkers, constantly talking to herself and having conversations with no one, and he doesn't know that she looks like that. But as they begin to get closer, the lines between them start to blur, leaving both of them and the ghosts who have been pushing them together wondering whether their temporary arrangement could be something more permanent. That's the one I'm most looking forward to. I've had really good luck with her Rebel Blue Ranch series. So, book number 4, a fantasy book. I'm having a bad time reading. I don't want to read fantasy, so I'm using this as a veto. We're not doing it. I can't be bothered. I really can't. If I was in a place where my reading wasn't going so spectacularly horrible, I would do it for you, but not today. A 2-word title. That we can absolutely manage. 2-word title. It's one of those also where when you get that, it's like you have so many options that you're like, what do I do? What do I do? Okay, so for series, Ashford Parker Doesn't Fail is too long. Hopeless is too short. Sawyer is too short. This Could Be Us, too long. Heartstrings is the right length. Falling Into Place, too long. Lizzie Blake's Best Mistake, too long. Too long, too long. Fucking Wild is the right length. Okay. Rewind It Back is too long. Is there anything over here or over here? So the reason I don't really go for this shelf very often is because I don't have a lot of books on it, and if I take anything else off, it's going to be more empty. So I focus on my more like full shelves, you know? The Crash is technically 2 words. I think I'm going to go with The Crash by Frida McFadden for the simple fact of the matter is it's quick and it's easy. And so this is, Tegan is 8 months pregnant, alone, and desperately wants to put her crumbling life in the rearview mirror. So she hits the road, not realizing she's heading straight into a blizzard. Hours later, when Tegan is stranded in rural Maine with a dead car and a broken ankle, she worries she's made a terrible mistake. Then a miracle occurs. She is rescued by a couple who offers her a room in their worn cabin until the snow clears. But there's something isn't right. Staying here may have been her most deadly mistake yet. So it'll be fine. It will probably be a 3-star and we'll move on, but it'll be easy, breezy, beautiful, and a fun time while we're there. You know what I mean? Starts with the letter U. Okay, U. Not like Y-O-U, just the letter U. Unsteady, I could start that series. We have Unlikely Story by Allie Rosen. Is there anything else? My Toxic Trait, because I'm trying Under Her Care by Lucinda Berry. I don't think I want that. It's not feeling up my alley right now. I think I'm pretty Unmissing by Minka Kent. Okay, we have like a couple of options. I do think I'm going to go with Unsteady though, because I think I have the highest chance of really liking this one because it is sports romance. I don't really know much about it, but here it is. Reese Kotsky is back at what? Reese whatever is back at least he's supposed to be. During last year's Frozen Four, the Waterfall University hockey champion and NHL legacy took a brutal hit that left him with a concussion and a new discomfort on the ice. Plagued by nightmares and panic attacks every time he attempts to skate, Reese wonders if he'll ever play again, or if he even wants to. Sadie Brown is staying focused this semester, no matter what, currently drowning in debt, custody hearings for her younger brothers, and skating practices. She is just trying to make it to the next day. A Spitfire figure skater known for her bad attitude and frequent disappearing acts. Sadie has a reputation on campus, and it is not a pretty one. When she accidentally witnesses one of the Golden Boy hockey captain's panic attacks and attempts to help him, a strange sort of understanding strikes up between them. No questions asked, just comfort. But Reese finds himself drawn to Sadie. Where he feels empty, a shell of a man, and a player he was before, Sadie is so full of everything. It bursts from her. Every emotion she feels seems to be blessed at max volume. Reese is desperate to find anything. Sadie wants to help stop feeling so much. But healing doesn't mix with secrets, and they're both skating on thin ice. So that actually sounds really good. College romances are very hit or miss for me, but that one sounds pretty good. It sounds like there's going to be enough depth, which is what my issues tend to be with them. So we have 5. We need 5 more. Next up, we have a used book. Very simple. Most of my books are used. I get a good portion of my books from the used bookstore. So this should not be too terribly tricky for me if I'm being honest with you. I'm thinking I would like to go with this one, which is Lizzie Blake's Best Mistake by Maisie Eddings. I do really enjoy Maisie Eddings, and I would like to read this one. This one is a used book that's like not even in like the greatest of condition, but I was happy to find it. So this says, Lizzie has made endless mistakes. Kitchen fires, pyramid schemes, bangs of the hair, and human variety, you name it, and she's done it. And has made a mess of it too. One mistake she's never made is letting anyone get closer to her than a single hookup. But after losing yet another bakery job due to her uncontrolled ADHD, she breaks her cardinal rule and has a 2-night stand that changes everything. Once buried, twice shy, Rake has given up on relationships and feelings, and any form of intimacy for that matter. Yet something about charming, chaotic Lizzie has him lowering his guard, for 2 nights that is. Then it's back home to Australia, far away from the perky feelings Lizzie pulls from him. But when Lizzie tells him that she's got an unexpected bun in the oven, he'll do whatever it takes to be part of the child's life, except be emotionally vulnerable, obviously. He's never going to make that mistake again. Through a series of mishaps and totally platonic single bed sharing and an underground erotic baking scheme, Lizzie and Rake learn that even the biggest mistakes can have the most beautiful consequences. I don't love accidental pregnancy, but this sounds actually really fun, like a really fun take on it, so I am looking forward to that. Okay. Starts with the letter U. I already got that. We're not doing that again. Okay. A book that has a blurb on it from a favorite author of mine. Okay. So this is probably going to take me a minute, so I'm going to go do some perusing and I will come back to you. Don't you fret. Favorite authors, I don't know exactly who I'm going to consider that, but I'll let you know when I find it. Okay? Okay, this one is for sure a winner. The first one I picked up was Emily Henry. I don't really consider her a favorite, but this one is blurbed by Abby Jimenez, who I definitely consider a favorite. So this is Heartstrings by Ivy Fairbanks. This is book 2. The first one is called Morbidly Yours, and I gave that book 4 stars. I really liked it. So, Cielo, or Lo, Valdez doesn't believe in second chances. Surviving cancer taught her life is too short to spend time on someone who wronged you. But Aiden O'Toole is determined to show her that life is best spent together. When the tough-as-nails Texan moves to Galloway for medical school, she wasn't looking for love. Aiden, a gorgeous tattooed, mandolin-playing lawyer, slipped past her defenses. They each fell hard and fast, and when Aiden was given the opportunity of a lifetime to move to London and record an album, he took it, breaking Lo's heart. Yet more than 2 years and a successful album later, every song he writes is still about her, the one that got away. And every time Lo hears his voice on the radio singing about love, it's an arrow straight to her soul. Now they're on a collision course as maid of honor and best man for a week-long Irish castle wedding. Are some mistakes worth forgiving? Can Aiden convince Lo their song wasn't meant to end? I wonder if the wedding is for the couple in book 1. That would be really cute. Even though I think they had like a shotgun wedding at the end of that one. It was like one of those he couldn't get his inheritance unless he was married type. You guys know. You guys know. Starts with the letter V. We're trying to get like very hard letters today. Okay, is there anything over here to continue on our series that starts with a V? I don't think so. The literal only book I can think of is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, but I've literally already read that, and Verity, which I've also already read. If there's none over here, then I don't own one. So we're gonna have to move on. L-G-A-N. I do not own it. I don't have a book on my TBR that starts with V, so we can't partake in that prompt. We just can't. A sad book. I do love a sad book, but knowing that a book is sad before I get into it, that's tricky. That's tricky. Because I feel like, oh, you know what I'm going to go with? Because the first book really was sad, so I'm going to assume book 2 is pretty sad too. This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan, because the first book made me sob. And it says it's life affirming. So we're going to go with this as a sad book. So this is book 2 in this series. I don't know the name of the series. Sky something. So this is about Soledad. Soledad Barnes has her life all planned out because of course she does. She plans everything. She fixes everything. She's never met a party she couldn't host or a change she couldn't lead. But none of her varied talents help when the life she built with the man who was supposed to be her forever goes poof in a cloud of betrayal and delusion. There's no time to grieve. She's too busy keeping a roof over her daughter's heads, food on the table. And in the process of saving them all, Soledad rediscovers herself. From the ashes of her life burned to the ground, something bold and new can rise. But when Judah Cross, a brilliant single dad and absolute last man she should want but can't seem to resist, enters the picture, can she trust him? Can't she trust herself? After all she's lost and found, is she brave enough to risk what could be? Definitely sounds like it's going to have some difficult, sad topics. So I think that for sure works for a sad book. A book with an orange cover. Okay, orange. Okay, you guys cut me off, but I think this is probably objectively the most orange book I could pick. The Dead Romantics. You guys are going to die just like the Dead Romantics, so give me 1 second. Okay. So, I think that this is the most orange book I could literally pick. So, Florence Day is the ghostwriter for one of the most prolific romance authors in the industry. And she has a problem. After a terrible breakup, she no longer believes in love. It's as good as dead. But when her new editor, a too handsome mountain man, won't give her an extension on her book deadline, Florence prepares to kiss her career goodbye. But then she gets a phone call that she never wanted to receive, and she must return home for the first time in a decade to help her family bury her beloved father. For 10 years, she's run from the town that never understood her, and even though she misses the sound of a warm southern night and her eccentric, loving family and their funeral parlor, she can't bring herself to stay. Her father's gone, yet everything else feels the same, and she hates it. Until she finds a ghost standing in the funeral parlor's front door, just as broad and infuriatingly handsome as ever, and she's just as confused about why he's there as she is. Romance is most certainly not dead, but so is her new editor, and his unfinished business will have her second-guessing everything she's never known about love stories. So, another ghostly romance. Okay. And then our last pick. We've got one more to go. Better be a good one. Mom's favorite. So the thing is I dumped the TBR prompts that were in my husband's TBR jar into mine because I was too lazy to make new ones, and my mom's literally dead. So that was more like for him than for me. So I don't think I can really do that because she's not, like, you know, alive to have a favorite. Okay. An animal on the cover. Okay. That's a fun one. That involves some investigation. So let me investigate and I will come back for ya. Last time I had something like this, I picked this series had like a bunny. There are cats on it. But what if I don't get to it till after Christmas? I don't care. Okay. It's the first one. I knew that I had a prompt of an animal on the cover before in my TBR Monopoly, and I picked one of, what is this series even called? Dream Harbor? And it had like a bunny. This has some kittens right there. So, as owner of her beloved gingerbread bakery, Annie Andrews should have a love life to match. Her business, sugary and sweet. But instead, she's locked in the battle of wills with the inherently upbeat bar owner down the street. Max Sullivan has everything he wants except the girl he dreams of. It is easier to argue with Annie than to get her to talk to him, but with Jeannie and Logan's wedding coming up, they're about to spend a lot more time together. As the snowflakes fall and with romance in the air, will Annie see that the one she loves to hate might just be her perfect match after all? So, that is the 10 books that are up next for us, friends. Here they are in all their glory. It started out very dark and then ended very colorful. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!